Have you ever felt like you're doing all the things and all the right things and you're really working at it, but something's not right? In this tidbit, I'm going to talk a little bit about how to approach this maybe a little bit differently and how to give you some tips of for things that I'm currently working on. A couple weeks ago in my job, we went to visit a house span in Westboro, Massachusetts, and they gave us a DEXA scan. And I've had a DEXA scan before for bone density, but this was different. This was a bone density test, but then they also were able to assess our visceral fat and assess our lean muscle and assess our muscle in general. Gave us some excellent tips for how to manage that. At this company, they also do blood work testing, like full on health testing, as well as a sleep exam, and they can test VO2 max also. So I am thinking I'd like to go back and do that because although I was not happy with the results of the exam, it gave me some great information and it gave me a starting point. And so that's what I would like to talk about is I can take the results of this exam and wallow and why bother? Or I can change my perspective and say, okay, I can't change everything, but I could change one thing. And what one step can I make to make that better? Hopefully, if you're a woman over 40, sorry, woman, I think they started at 50. I don't remember when I had mine. It's probably about 50. You get a baseline bone density exam test. And when I had my baseline one, it did show that I have signs of osteoporosis. Sorry, osteopenia. I don't have the comparison values from that one to this one. I did have a second one, so I don't know if things have gotten worse, but it hasn't gotten better. They definitely noticed that I have signs of osteopenia in my hips and my back, which really frustrates me because if you know me, I preach lifting and I preach heavy lifting. And I've been progressing my lifting since I was 22 when I started actually getting in the gym and weight training and really working on creating better muscle control and developing more muscle as opposed to just doing cardio. I've always enjoyed weight training. I like it so much better than going for a run. But here we are. It did not prevent osteopenia. Why? I don't know. I also walk. I have done running in the past to create that impact. I have done jumping in the past. My sport of choice was a jumping sport, cheerleading. I had to jump off the ground and land in guys' hands, but it didn't create that impact that we needed for the bone health. I've not had my vitamin D tested. I've not had my calcium tested. It's telling me one step I can take is take a vitamin D and calcium and probably magnesium to help get that absorption also. To do more research on that. I've started taking a multivitamin, but I'm not generally a supplement person, but I'm realizing I might need to be now. I also feel like for the most part, my diet's pretty good. I tend to eat lean proteins and I love vegetables. And although I do love pasta and pizza, I don't eat that every day. Along with the bone density being low, my visceral fat is up. And I don't remember what the norms are, and I don't have the form in front of me as far as if it's like catastrophic. But the visceral fat is the internal surrounding your internal organs and creates more of a risk of heart disease and stroke and all kinds of problems that can affect your body. So clearly, my diet's not so great, and I have to dial it in. Now, I do know I haven't been super dialed in recently. I've kind of just decided I want to eat what I want to eat. And that means maybe I've been having a little bit more steak and red meat. I stopped using canola oil and vegetable oil a long time ago. So I stay with olive oil, which is supposed to be good for the heart, but it is still a healthy fat. And it's important to have some fat in your diet. But I may be having too much in other things. Maybe I'm having butter. I'm eating a lot of cheese lately. I need to cut the cheese out, which it sounds funny when I say that. I hope you got a little laugh on that. So I can certainly dial my eating habits in and get that under control because getting my visceral fat down will make a big difference in my longevity of life. I don't know if I can actually reverse my osteopenia at this point, but taking the supplement can help. Probably reducing my body fat's not going to hurt that as well. Reducing visceral body fat will help to improve longevity and help make me feel better. And in the process of doing that, helps to build muscle as well. The other interesting thing that they showed was that I have less muscle mass in my right leg than my left leg. And they said this could be a sign of an injury. They didn't ask my history and my injuries, but I did have an ACL reconstruction on my right leg. And while I feel that it's solid and my right leg feels as strong as my left leg, there's objective evidence to say otherwise. And so they recommend doing more single leg at work, which of course I love single leg deadlifts. Don't love single leg squats because I can't do them very well, but I need to do more of them. I need to maybe do more split squats. I do step ups, which is a single leg exercise. So I'm putting this all together, and this is not to talk about me. I'm just trying to give you an example of all of this stuff. Like, I feel like I've been doing the right thing all my life, and I still have some challenging aspects in my health and my overall well-being. I know that I always have known that there's things that I could dial in. We all can be better at something, but it definitely was frustrating. And if you've ever been there, know that you're not alone. Know that you just have to take one step. Like sea turtles, you can't get there in a flash, right? You got to take one step at a time and just keep at it. Make one change at a time. I'm not going to change my weightlifting routine, get running, get more impact, take a vitamin, take the supplements, change my diet altogether, all in one day. It's not going to happen. The buildup of that is too overwhelming to think of to do it all. But I can change one thing. And what I'm trying to think of now is in my meal planning for this week, eating more protein because I've gotten away from doing that. Eating more, cutting out the starchy vegetables and the starchy pasta and pizza. Not forever. I'm never going to say forever because it's one of my favorite foods is pizza and pasta. I can't say I'm going to do that forever, but I can limit the amount and dial that in a little bit. Certainly cut back on the cheese that I'm eating and try to have more healthy options like vegetables and more fiber in my diet. And I have gotten away in the last 2 years from doing intense workouts. Actually, to be honest, since 2020, I stopped going to a gym. We have a gym in our basement, so now I work out in my basement, which I love. But maybe my workouts aren't as structured and I'm prioritizing other things. Another big driver of visceral fat is your cortisol level and stress. And while cortisol is normal functioning, we need to have that balance where it raises and lowers. I know it has something to do with glucose and insulin. That's a hormone that drives the blood sugars. And I don't know exactly the numbers and how that all works. And I start to listen and I gloss over. Something I probably need to learn a little bit more about. What I do know is that over the last 6 years, I've had a lot more stress in my life between aging parents and trying to run my own business and also working full time and trying to be present in my marriage and just trying to do it all. And I used to coach at the same time. I don't know how I did that because now things seem that much more stressful. I've also passed menopause, so for a long time now, and that changed my hormones. And so I'm going to store a little bit more. And I may not have that same ability to kind of calm things down and reduce my cortisol. Again, I don't know all the details on that. That's something I need to look into. What I can do, I can spend a little bit more time at the end of the evening shutting down my computer a little bit early. I can meditate more. I really enjoy meditating these days. I have not been consistent in doing yoga or flexibility. I tend to do more strength training, but maybe I need a little bit more yoga and calming exercise, not as much HIIT exercise to help reduce that cortisol in my life. If you're the same way, if you're running around and you're stressed out and things are just chaotic, adding more high intensity work is not going to be the answer to reducing your stress. Flip side, if all you do is low impact. You might need a little bit more to get that impact and create better bone growth. What I've been contemplating since I got the results is finding the balance in all of it. It's wavy, it's up and down. We can only do the best that we can do. When we stop trying, that's when things go south. We have to put the effort in. We have to pay attention. We have to pay attention to it all. Our food, our exercise, our rest. I definitely don't get 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night. I think I've been averaging, my Fitbit's been telling me I've been averaging 4 to 5. Not that I'm up for that, but I'm just not getting deep sleep. So how can we prep our room better? How can we find the time that's quieting and downtime to get our cortisol level down, while also still spending time taking care of everybody else? I don't have kids, but I do have parents that need help. It's the same but different. I recognize it's not the same, but it is. It's the same but different, right? You have to still run after your kids or after your parents. You have to do all the things, but finding the time to balance that, I think, is the key to life. And finding the time to take care of yourself and make one small change is how you make it better. I don't know when I'll go back to get another DEXA scan, or if I'll go back to do the other blood work. I'd like to, because I think it's important health wise, and I think it gives me good information. Sometimes I like also to just keep my head in the sand, because I actually do know that you have to do all the things, and you can sometimes do all the right things and still not have the results that you hope for. You can train your hardest and go run a race and still potentially not win that race. You can do all the right things, and sometimes it just doesn't work out. The thing to remember is that it's not about the results. Yes, I think the bone density and the visceral fat is what scare me the most. So yes, I'd like to reduce those or improve those, but it's not about the results of that. It's really about the process, and it's about taking control of myself and recognizing that I need to make a change, and then just taking first step, one step at a time, continuing after it, one step each till I'm here no more. That's all you can do. To make one change, whatever this may be, whether it's on your body, if it's you're training for an event, if you are trying to find a new position at work, make one small change to help you feel better and help you to move in that direction. And if we can do that over the course of time, the process and the journey makes it a lot more enjoyable. And that's the point of life. Thanks for joining me this week on my tidbits. I hope that was helpful for you. Please like, share, subscribe, and listen in again next week when I come back. I do want to give an apology. Last week was Easter and I spaced. If you celebrate Easter, I hope you had a wonderful Easter. If you celebrate Passover, I hope you had a wonderful Passover. And if you don't celebrate anything, I just hope you had a wonderful day. And I hope you embrace the season of life, of springtime coming, and making changes as we go. Have a great week. I look forward to seeing you next week. Take care.